So we just stopped here, right? So that is duct system. So we have, you see here, you know, like pancreas are both exocrine and endocrine part we have, isn't it? The exocrine part of the pancreas is concerned with the secretion of pancreatic juice, isn't it? As Lokesh was telling us, it is tubulo-alveolar gland. That means it will have all acini that will be working to produce the pancreatic juice. Okay, so that juice is being collected by two ducts now. This is the main duct, that is the main pancreatic duct, and we have a small duct there. You call it as accessory pancreatic duct. Okay, so the main pancreatic duct is also called as duct of Wirsung. Okay, it lies near posterior surface. That means we are seeing from behind. Okay, 3 mm in diameter. Very thin it is, white in color. When you do dissection, we will try to see that. In fact, okay, piecemeal. When you do the dissection, generally we see this is the pancreatic duct. Okay, so where is it starting? It is starting at the tail, then it is running throughout the body, and it is bending at the neck to run downwards, backwards, and finally it is entering in the head. Okay, so this pattern, it is receiving more. So many small ducts from either side, no? So this is resembling herring fish. That's why it is called as herringbone pattern. Okay, it looks like this fish bone pattern. So many ducts are opening in the main pancreatic duct. This herringbone pattern, this fish bone pattern it is. Okay, like this. So herringbone. So that is the main pancreatic duct. So main pancreatic duct is joining which duct, Meghana? What is bile duct? So the common bile duct and the pancreatic duct, both of them are uniting to form hepatopancreatic duct. Hepatopancreatic duct, and it is little elevated there. You call it as ampulla of Wetter. Ritika. Yes. Okay, beta. So main pancreatic duct, you can see the pancreatic duct is now joining with the bile duct to form hepatopancreatic ampulla of Wetter. And we know it is opening where?
Major duodenal papilla.
Major duodenal papilla. Which part of the duodenum is this, Meghana? Second part of the duodenum. So what is the embryological significance of this opening? Above this opening, the part of the duodenum is derived from foregut. Below the major duodenal papilla's opening, the part of the duodenum is developed from midgut. That's the reason even pancreas is also developed at the junction of foregut and midgut. Okay, that's why arterial supply is also different. Okay, anyhow, when I tell blood supply, I will repeat this point. So main pancreatic duct or duct of Wirsung, this is again like it is lying on the posterior surface, white in color. This is the same point, beta. So now we know like both the ducts are uniting and they are forming this ampulla of Wetter, which is opening in the major duodenal papilla. Okay, so when you measure this opening from the pyloric part of the stomach, it will be around 8 to centimeters distal to the pyloric part of the stomach. Okay, this picture I kept when I was taking duodenum also. This is the opening. What is the name of this opening? Major duodenal papilla, isn't it? Abhinav, what is the name of this duct? Bile duct. What is the name of this duct? Pancreatic duct. Both of them hepatopancreatic ampulla of Wetter. Opening major duodenal papilla. Do you remember the names of sphincter? Sphincter of?
Of Oddi.
Oddi. Okay, very good. Sphincter of Oddi. Okay. Now, there is one more small duct also, if you can observe here. You call it as accessory duct. Okay, which is beginning in the lower part of the head. Actually, sorry, but this is crossing the main duct. It comes like this. Okay, and it is opening here, just above. Okay, opens as minor duodenal papilla in the second part of the duodenum. So the upper opening is the accessory pancreatic duct, and the lower opening is the major pancreatic duct. So this is the minor duodenal papilla, that is the accessory pancreatic duct. This is the major duodenal papilla, which is the main pancreatic duct. Is that clear? That's the reason it is 6 to 8 centimeters from the pylorus. The major duodenal papilla, I told you, how many centimeters from the pylorus? 8 to 10 centimeters. ये ऊपर जो है एक्सेसरी है, नीचे जो है मेन पैंक्रियाटिक डक्ट, ये 6 सेंटीमीटर से 8 to 10 सेंटीमीटर है यहाँ से पाइलोरस से. ओके, इज इट क्लियर? So this is duct system. Okay, accessory pancreatic duct is actually, it has moved like this, minor duodenal papilla. I told you we need to do dissection like this in the dissection hall. Piecemeal, 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 you cut. Okay, so many pointer like you have put so as to appreciate this head, neck, body, tail. Okay, all forceps we have kept now. So I just lifted to show how the duct looks. Whitish, it is all mass flesh. It looks like very soft. Okay, this is how pancreas look in the dissection hall. Now blood supply. This is the so beautiful picture. No, main pancreatic duct, accessory pancreatic duct. Now blood supply. What are the blood vessels supplying Hansraj?
Yeah, ma'am.
Blood supply of pancreas.
Why superior pancreatic and inferior duodenal?
Very good. That's it. Superior pancreaticoduodenal is a branch coming from
Celiac.
Celiac trunk.
celiac trunk.
Common
And
hepatic mole.
and inferior pancreaticoduodenal is a branch.
Superior mesenteric.
Okay.
Superior mesenteric.
Okay, that shows what celiac trunk is a artery of foregut.
Foregut.
And
Okay.
superior
Foregut.
mesenteric artery is artery of midgut. That means
Midgut.
pancreas is also partly derived from foregut, partly derived from midgut. That's the reason it is being supplied by both these structures. Okay, that is. So that is better. So it is derived from, to be more specific, celiac trunk, gastroduodenal artery. Okay. So this is only like. But see, the gland is also chiefly supplied by splenic artery. I'll tell you the splenic artery. I have been telling you, in fact, during my previous lectures also, splenic artery is very big. It has tortuous pores. Okay. And then,
upper
isn't it?
border of pancreas.
Then I told you the main artery which supplies the gland, you called it as arteria pancreatica magna. And the artery which is supplying towards tail is arteria caudae pancreatis. Okay. Arteria like that, beta. See here, this is all. This is which view of pancreas, beta? Anterior view or posterior?
Posterior.
This is from behind, posterior view. Okay. The splenic artery is quite tortuous, and you are finding magna word is written. So many branches are going to the pancreas. So arteria pancreatica magna. And you see one artery will go towards the tail. You call it as arteria caudae pancreatis. Okay. So that is. This is the, just a minute, flow chart. From celiac trunk, we have common hepatic artery. From there, we have gastroduodenal. Okay, that will give anterior superior pancreaticoduodenal from anterior aspect, posterior superior pancreaticoduodenal. Okay, so they will form so many branches which supply both pancreas and duodenum. Okay, you remember this word arcade, branches like which I have shown you in the jejunum and ileum. Yeah, I say it. Okay. So from the superior mesenteric artery, we have inferior pancreaticoduodenal artery. Iske bhi anterior branches we have, posterior branches.
Posterior.
Okay, they just unite and they form anastomosis, that is forming an arterial arcade. Okay. That is. Now coming to venous drainage. Pretty well. I am confident everybody will tell me. How is the venous drainage? What? Which vein is? Splenic vein joins.
Superior mesenteric.
Form?
Portal
vein.
Into the splenic vein, which vein is draining?
Inferior mesenteric.
Very good. That's it, beta. Very good. Very good. So, like venous drainage is by portal vein, and we know it is formed, drained. Same like pancreatico-duodenal veins, which are corresponding to the name of arteries, which end up in portal vein. So superior mesenteric vein and splenic vein will join to form the portal vein. Okay. Now, venous drainage. So coming to the nerve supply. So nerve supply, which is the parasympathetic nerve? Abhinav?
Vegas.
Vegas.
Very good. Apart from that,
So,
everywhere you will have network beta plexuses. At the celiac trunk, you have celiac plexus. At the superior mesenteric artery area, we have superior mesenteric plexus. They all supply the visceral organs. That's why the common term we use is splanchnic nerves. Okay. So because this is an endocrine and exocrine gland concerned with secretion of so many juices and hormones, so the parasympathetic, as you told me, it is coming from vagus, which is controlling the secretion. Sympathetic is coming from celiac and superior mesenteric plexus. Okay. Secretions is also controlled by this intestinal hormones, beta, secretin and pancreozymin. Okay. So this is all the same what we have been discussing, nerve supply. Now coming to lymphatic drainage. So a network of lymphatic vessels are there within pancreas, and so they actually lie in the intralobular septa. That means within the connective tissue of the pancreas, we have so many lymphatic nodes. Okay. So head, neck, and the dorsal aspect, they all will go into this pancreatico-duodenal group of lymph nodes. Okay, this area, whatever lymph nodes you are finding. Then body and tail, you have pancreatico-splenic group of lymph nodes. Okay, body and tail into the pancreatico-splenic. Then efferents, that means the lymph which has been collected. Afferents are this. Efferents will go to celiac and superior mesenteric. Finally, this will go. Finally, from here, the lymph will travel to dash. Fill up the blank. Cisterna chyli.
Cisterna chyli, thoracic duct.
First cisterna chyli, then into the thoracic duct. Okay. So that is all lymphatic drainage. So these are the three names you can remember actually: pancreatico-splenic, celiac, and superior mesenteric group of lymph nodes. Okay. Small part of the development, because embryologically we have some disorders which we discuss in applied aspects. Basically, whole of the GIT will be developing from foregut, midgut, and hindgut. So this is actually foregut, this is midgut. At the junction of foregut and midgut, you will find two buds will be developing. One is the ventral pancreatic bud and the dorsal pancreatic bud. They will grow and develop in different directions to form head, neck, body, and tail of pancreas. Okay. Anyhow, I will take embryology separate lectures only, but small overview like foregut, midgut junction, we have ventral and dorsal pancreatic buds. Okay. How they are growing, you see. How initially they were in two different directions. Now because of the rotation of gut, they are just moving one above the other, ventral below, dorsal above. And finally you will see whole gland like leaf shaped gland is formed. Uncinate process, head, neck, body, tail. Okay. So that is development, ventral and dorsal buds. Now congenital anomalies, we have different things like, I'll show with the help of pictures. Annular pancreas means the pancreas which are growing on the duodenum. They are compressing the duodenum. They are obstructing the lumen of duodenum. They are covering the duodenum like a ring. That is the meaning of annular pancreas. Okay, you can see this is annular pancreas. So we have different type of ducts also may develop differently better. You can see different patterns of opening of this duct system. Okay, these are the anomalies of ducts. Okay, ectopic means anywhere away from the normal area is called as ectopic. Okay, anywhere. Not in the C-fold of duodenum, somewhere in the body.
Enti?
So you see in the greater curvature of the stomach. Sometimes we may find pancreas in the greater curvature of the stomach. Okay, so ectopic, gastric ectopic pancreas. in the MRI scan. It looks like this. See, duodenum, how much lumen is occluded? No? Because of this pancreatic tissue. Only this much part of the duodenum is the lumen. Okay. So this is the pancreatic tissue you are finding related to the ileum also. Ectopic, anywhere in the body it can be there. Okay. So now apart from this, we have many other anomalies like congenital, that is by birth. Trauma means injury. Sometimes there may be infection. Okay. So that is. So I hope everybody knows this man, Steve Jobs. Okay, he died with pancreatic tumor. Okay. So this is annular pancreas developmental anomaly. Okay. So if there is any abdominal injury, yesterday I told you spleen can rupture. Similarly, there may be a trauma over the pancreas. These are all soft tissues, no, very tender. Okay, they rupture very easily. Okay, that is. So in such cases, you see duct may get dilated. Okay. Mm. So sometimes there is a condition which is called as pancreatitis. What is the difficulty with pancreatic trauma? We know pancreas is a gland which is concerned with the release of pancreatic juice, and that juice function is to digest carbohydrates, lipids and proteins. Our tissues are made up of proteins only, no? In such trauma cases, if pancreatic juice is leaking into peritoneal cavity, it will start eating the abdominal visceral organs. Do you understand? Okay, digestion
So
of,
it digests the proteins of our visceral organs.
yeah, that's why it is very painful condition. Digestion of pancreas and surrounding tissue by free pancreatic juice is very painful clinical condition. Again, it happens in pancreatitis case, and most of the common cause of pancreatitis unfortunately is again alcoholism. They will come to us with severe pain, abdominal pain. Okay. So the pancreatitis, maybe it is primary or it may be due to gallstones also, results in collection of fluid in lesser sac. We know lesser sac is intervening between pancreas and stomach. Whatever may be the reason, if there is any fluid collection in lesser sac, the pancreas are going to suffer. Okay. So pain may be poorly localized, but usually it may be referred to epigastrium. I hope everybody knows now. 9 regions above umbilicus is epigastrium. Okay. Sometimes mumps infection through blood circulation. Mumps is basically an inflammation of
Viral infection.
viral infection,
Parotid
parotid gland, isn't it? So through blood circulation, it can also cause infection in the pancreas. Okay. So leading to acute pancreatitis. See, this is the abdominal trauma. Okay, where because of infection, you may see there may be pancreatitis. Okay, carcinoma. It's also very, very common. Okay, so it may be present commonly in the head. And suppose if it is causing the obstruction of that bile duct which is joining the pancreatic duct, then it may lead to jaundice, isn't it? Bile juice cannot enter into the duodenum. It refluxly go back and finally it may enter into the blood circulation also, leading to increase in the bile pigment, leading to jaundice. Okay. It can cause ascites also due to portal vein compression. Okay. It may cause pyloric obstruction. This is all carcinoma of which part of pancreas? Head of the pancreas. Okay. This technique I told you when I was discussing the extrahepatic biliary apparatus. No? Endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreaticography. I told you we are inserting a tube, endoscopic tube. It is both diagnostic and therapeutic purpose. We are inserting this tube, we can check where exactly the stone is, where exactly the tumor is. At the same time, we can also treat this through this same tube. Okay, that is for both pancreatic and also the biliary diseases. You will learn the details in surgery, but a second year only they will start teaching you. And of
second year surgery.
सर्जरी तो 4th ईयर में है, बट आप लोग क्लिनिकल्स को जाएंगे ना बेटा, पोस्टिंग्स bedside you will see so many cases. They will ask you, they will always ask what anatomy people taught you. You don't know this much also. That will be a common question there. So take care not to be, you should be able to answer everything. Okay. So diabetes mellitus. So what is the mellitus spelling is wrong, but I'm sorry. It is M-E mellitus. Mellitus. Okay. So how is it? How is this caused? Due to the deficiency of which hormone?
Insulin.
Insulin. Okay. So insulin basically reduces blood glucose levels. Suppose if insulin is not sufficient, which is coming from the beta cells of the islets of Langerhans, then blood glucose levels goes on rising. Okay. So that condition is diabetes mellitus. So person will suffer with frequent urination, lethargy, excessive thirst. What is the common dictum? You should have done so many cases. Diabetes, polydipsia, polyuria, polyphagia. Polydipsia, frequent thirst. Polyuria, frequent urination. Polyphagia, they eat frequently.
Eating fast. Eating.
Why so much frequently they eat despite of so high blood glucose? Because blood glucose is unable to. Because blood glucose is unable to reach tissues. Tissues are not receiving glucose. What is the use if it is high in the blood? No use, isn't it? That's the reason. Okay. Generally, we suggest, like we have type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 is the one which is by birth itself. There we need to give like insulin injection throughout life. Type 2 diabetes is due to sedentary lifestyle, obesity. Okay, in such cases, we just need to control their diet, exercise, and give oral medication. Type 2 we can easily control. Within 6 months and 1 year, if patient is cooperative, he will lead a normal life without medication at all. Okay? But he should follow our instructions. See, as Lokesh told us, no, it is tubulo-alveolar gland like this, which is opening into this duct system. Okay? So anyhow, histology we will do later, better. So exocrine part, histology, like it is having, this picture is good in fact. This is one single acinus, okay? These are all cells of pancreas, okay? And all these, like basal nucleus you are finding, these are all zymogen granules which are concerned with the secretion of enzymes. And through this duct, you will see, these are all intercalated ducts. Through this duct, finally they will enter into this main pancreatic duct. Okay, like this. In between, whatever cells are there, these are actually concerned with endocrine function. Because you are finding capillaries. That means directly the secretion will enter into blood circulation. Whereas exocrine part will release their secretions into duct. Okay. Endocrine part will release their secretions directly into blood. Okay. Histology looks something like this. Okay. Histology I'll do again later as a separate class. It's a lengthy lecture. But just like you should know this slide. Alpha cells we have histologically, beta cells, that islets of Langerhans are the collections which are concerned with the endocrine function. Alpha cells, beta cells, delta cells, and F protein polypeptide. Alpha, you remember glucagon. Glucagon will increase the blood glucose. Insulin will reduce the blood glucose. Delta cells is somatostatin. Okay, we don't know the function. And F protein, remaining total endocrine, they secrete pancreatic polypeptides. Okay, but somatostatin is generally concerned like it is related to growth. Okay, all these are different cells we have. Predominantly, which cells you are finding? Beta cells. No, this one, yellow, whatever. Beta cells concerned with the release of insulin, and only beta cells of pancreas are only the hormone. When we generally physiology in the endocrine system, it is given the only hormone which reduces the blood glucose levels is insulin. Rest all hormones in our body, glucocorticoids, testosterone, estrogen, whatever hormones we have in the blood, glucagon, all are blood glucose increasing hormones. They are only protective hormone we have in our body which reduces blood glucose levels is insulin. Okay, so that is all better. Okay, so I am just ending with a quote: the essence of all beautiful art, all great art is gratitude. Okay, so don't leave the group till I ask you to leave. Just I want to speak to you.